Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
The University of North Dakota has announced that details behind its budget acts will be released in just 11 days. Thanks for joining us. Andrea has the evening off. UND has been asked to cut over $10 million from its budget after the state announced a $1 billion budget shortfall. Valley News Team's Neil Carlson shows us the latest on all of this.
Officials say UND faculty, staff, and programs will all bear cuts as UND President Ed Schaefer figures out how to meet the governor's budget reduction request.
Based on the governor's directive, we have to cut about $12.5 million. Roughly $9.5 million is for most of the university. The rest of it's for the School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
Johnson says President Schaefer will release budget details online Monday, April 18th. Then a public forum will be held on April 20th between 1 and 3 p.m. at the Union Ballroom. Schaefer will consider public comments before submitting his final budget to the state around April 26th. As part of a cost-saving measure, an early job buyout was offered to 761 faculty and staff members. 109 people have applied for that early buyout. However, it's also still not clear exactly how much money that buyout will save in the overall budget.
It's not clear because A, they haven't been approved yet. Some of those folks might not be approved. The president may say, no, you're somebody with a specific kinds of knowledge we still need to have, so thanks for playing, but we're going to hang on to you.
The entire student body has been granted immunity from the budget acts. President Schaefer has pledged not to raise tuition or fees for students in order to balance the budget. In Grand Forks, Neil Carlson, Valley News Live.
UND has already suspended its music therapy program, which has been met with protests and petitions. The Frozen Four is set to begin tonight in Tampa, Florida. UND is making their third consecutive appearance and looking for their elusive 8th national title. It's where we find Valley News Live sports reporter Alex Egan, who seems to have found a good group to be around. Alex?
Yeah, I certainly have, and it's not a bad day out here. I spent most of the day walking around the downtown Tampa area here next to Amalie Arena, and I saw a lot of college hockey fans, but the one group that I saw the most of was the North Dakota fans. Now, I'm here at the UND Champions Club alumni event here next to the arena, and I can tell you there are a few fans that are having a good time here, including these guys behind me here. They're from Fargo. They're checking in on us. The fans, the first game is already underway. We're getting ready to start the second period in the first game. These fans are hanging out here watching the game before they head over next door and hopefully cheer on a North Dakota win. Now, tonight at 6, we're going to be breaking down the game between North Dakota and DU. And as we, too, get ready for hockey. Reporting live in Tampa, Florida from the Frozen Four, Alex Egan, Valley News Live Sports.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Try not to have so much fun. North Dakota and Denver play at 7:30 on ESPN2. Gusty winds and cold temperatures today made some of us bust out our winter jackets again. But let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson to see if we can get back to those spring temperatures anytime soon. Hutch?
Well, don't put away the winter jacket too quickly because this cool air is going to stay with us for some time, but the snow and precipitation is gradually exiting to the east. There's a little clearing line off to the west of the Fargo-Moorhead area now, moving over the Valley City area, but the wind has been very gusty throughout the day. Wind speeds are currently gusting over 30 miles per hour to nearly 40 miles per hour from Jamestown through southeast North Dakota and into northeast South Dakota. Temperatures approaching 60 in central and western South Dakota, while we are stapled in the low to mid-30s across much of northern Minnesota. Quite a temperature range across the region, but temperatures won't change much here this evening. The wind gradually diminishes a little bit, as do the temperatures. It's going to be a cold night. We're talking some wind chill values in the forecast as well. I'll tell you when we do have some light at the end of the tunnel, that in your planning forecast here in a few moments.
Okay, thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
A Facebook thread had some in our area on edge. So much so, the Moorhead police are investigating. Here's what one user posted last night. Quote, shoot up school and daycares, not crystal meth. Multiple people commented on the post, and the individual followed up by saying they were being completely serious. Moorhead police were tipped off about this post and are actively investigating. However, as of now, they don't believe there is any credibility to this post.
if somebody's thinking that they can just spout off and make inappropriate and certainly concerning for safety comments, it's something that law enforcement generally will hear about. It's a case-to-case basis as far as ultimately if you have a real threat or not.
In cyber threats like this one, Jacobson says that they work hand in hand with schools if there's a threat. He also adds that there could be criminal charges made with cyber threats. Grand Forks Police and Sheriff's Department are alerting the public about 2 level 3 sex offenders living in the area. 51-year-old Donald Ormond Lee is living at 1706 North 6th Street in Grand Forks and has been deemed a high-risk sex offender. And 70-year-old Kenneth Lynn Ide is also living in the Grand Forks area. He is staying at 4796 South 42nd Street. The Fargo Police Department released their 2015 annual report showing that overall offenses went up by 16%. At the beginning of the report, Fargo Police Chief David Todd says they have some growing crime problems that are going to be a challenge for them in the coming years. Numbers from the report show that arson, vehicle theft, theft from vehicle, and burglary all went up in 2015. Offenses that are down in 2015, homicide and gross sexual imposition. There's also a 13% increase in calls of service. If you want to check out the full report, we have a link attached on our website. Just go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. You've seen them, videos of police shootings that are dissected by both prosecutors and the public. Now, a role-playing exercise in Minnesota aims to help community members better understand the difficult decisions police officers can face on a call. Reporter Liz Collin got a first-hand lesson in making split-second decisions like police officers do every day.
Hopefully it'll give you a little bit of a realism of what we go through.
For 3 hours each week, they sit as students, members of Eagan PD's latest Citizens Academy.
The information's there.
Seeing for themselves what most of us don't.
There's more to the story than just a 5-second video clip.
Tonight, it's a timely lesson planned long before any high-profile police shootings.
We train to shoot until the threat is stopped.
A traffic stop scenario where the word routine is never used.
Any car we stop going down the road, we don't know who that person is most days. We don't know if they just came and committed a crime. We don't know if they're just going to pick up their kids from soccer practice.
The reason I pulled you over is because you just went through that stop sign back there.
No, I didn't. I stopped. I'm just trying to go to work, all right?
Sir, get back in the car.
Why are you guys bugging me?
Citizens learn the uncertainty officers face.
The gun down.
Leave me alone.
And how soon they can be forced from offense to defense.
Put the gun down.
I think a lot of the civilians that go through the scenario tonight are going to realize just how quick these things unfold.
Don Seifelt is a behavior scientist with the Force Science Institute, a law enforcement training center in Mankato with a holistic approach to police work, relying on professionals from doctors to psychologists and attorneys who focus on how the mind works in fast-moving situations and making decisions under stress.
It is not possible for anyone to remember anything clearly. We have human limitations, so no one's going to remember anything perfectly all of the time. We assume that we can, but that's because no one's asking us to recall information perfectly.
Their research has found 81% of police officers experience some kind of perceptual alteration. Most often, they forget what they hear rather than what they see.
Are you sure you had a gun?
Positive.
What color was it?
Blue.
How many rounds did you fire?
5, 6.
Sure?
Yeah.
Questions I struggle to answer.
Sir, drop the gun!
After running through the exercise myself.
You went from stopping somebody with a stop sign violation to having to use deadly force in about 6 seconds.
Back up, please.
And you know that the courts and everybody else are going to have the next 6 months or a year to dissect every little piece of it, and now you have to live with that decision for the rest of your life.
To see what else the Force Science Institute found when studying officers' memories, head to valleynewslive.com and click on the Hot button. Take a look at this. Most at first would say it's a gun, but it's actually a cell phone case. And this confusion that has lawmakers cracking down. Officials say thousands of cell phone cases like these have been brought in Minnesota. And police fear that could happen if it's mistaken for a gun.
The worst case scenarios is the potential loss of life when an officer finds him or herself in the position of having to make that split-second decision, oftentimes under high stress.
If passed, it would be a petty misdemeanor to own, sell, or manufacture the cell phone gun case. That comes with a fine up to $300. This also comes after concerns were being raised about a gun being manufactured in Minnesota that looks like a cell phone. 3 men have been arrested in connection with several reports of vehicle tampering in a church break-in this weekend in Foston. 18-year-old Dade Mayer of Bagley and 19-year-old Ryan Pallam of Borup are being held in the Polk County Jail. A juvenile male was also arrested. Mayer and Pallam each face 1 count of burglary, 2 counts of theft, and 1 count of solicitation of a juvenile to commit a felony. The pair allegedly stole numerous items from several vehicles and broke into the Kingo Lutheran Church. A couple of windows were broken in the church, papers thrown around, and a fire extinguisher was sprayed in the pastor's office and basement. A family's fireplace is what fire officials say caused an early morning house fire. The fireplace has a crack in the back, causing the backside to catch fire. But what's worse, the devices the family has to alert them in an emergency remain silent. It started just after 5 a.m. at a home northwest of Barnesville. The Clay County Sheriff's Office tells us the family awoke to find smoke in their home, and to their surprise, fire alarms in their security system didn't go off. No one was injured, and the home has minimal damage. Teens from Hawley High School won the chance to perform with Foreigner at their upcoming show. Those details are coming up.
Rain and even flakes of snow is how we began our day here across portions of the valley. It does look like warmer air is on the way from the far west. It will take a bit of time to get here. I'll have the latest on what you can expect in your forecast next.